Welcome back to another episode of Relationship Questions and Answers. The way relationship question and answer work, you ask the questions via our social media, Instagram or Facebook, and we give you the answers with a video. And the good thing about it is that everything will be done anonymously. But before we start this video, as usual, we'd like to welcome back our off-screen co-host, Wish So Free, who's going to be answering some of the questions with us. We also want to welcome back those of you who are already part of the community. And if you are new around, on this channel, we give relationship advice. If this is something that you're into, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell because we've got a lot to talk about. So what do we got?
Okay. So our first question comes from a young lady who's been in a relationship for 6 years, married for 3, and she has a child with her husband. She just recently found out from an outside source that her husband has a wife and 2 children in his home country. She's wondering what she should do, what her next steps should be, and how she should approach the subject with her husband, because at this point he doesn't know that she knows.
So she's ready to leave the relationship? What's the status?
Yeah, she's definitely ready to leave the relationship. She's just wanting to know what her next step should be as far as protecting herself, but also confronting her husband.
Oh, that's a tough situation. Because if they weren't married or if they didn't have kids together, there are things that you could have done. But now that she's already married with a guy, when things like that happen, you have to investigate. You know what I mean? You don't want to just jump out just because you're in your feelings. And I understand it's unfortunate finding out the person that you've been with the entire time already have another family somewhere. This is crazy. But at the same time, the source could have different motives. You don't know, just because somebody comes to you and tell you somebody's doing this, doing that, you don't know exactly if it's true, right? So the first step is to investigate. Investigate in the sense of finding out if the guy is still married with the lady or if the kids are actually his, you know what I mean, before you do anything else. And I don't want to go crazy with the process. Even if the kids were his, but he doesn't have any relation with the mother, you know what I mean? There's probably a chance. But if it's still in deep connection with all 3 of them, now that's when we're going to talk about getting a full divorce. What you think?
I would agree, but I would say first things first, you need to ask him if this is true or not, because you're just receiving the information from an outside source.
I don't think telling him anything is going to be beneficial for her right now. And I'm not trying to be sneaky, because if he's actually been in a relationship with that lady and never said anything, he's already the one sneaking around. That's basically the first thing. My thing is, I think she should investigate before confronting him. Why? Because by you telling him that you don't know, he could do a bunch of stuff just to erase the idea that the other family actually exists. You know what I mean? By you going to him, hey, I just found out this, found out that. It's like, oh, no, don't worry about it. That's not true. And from him saying that, if it's true, it could make it untrue if you were to go investigate later on. My whole point would be, hey, go ahead and investigate. By investigating, I don't mean looking around. I mean going inside of the situation as far as knowing if this is his kids, you know what I mean? If it's still married with that woman or if they still have strong relationships with each other throughout the entire 6 years that they've been together or they've known each other, you know what I mean? And then by you confronting him, you're gonna know exactly if he's lying or not. Because if he has kids and he's still telling you the person is lying, that's also adding up to the things that he's been lying to you about. If he's still married with the lady and acting like he's not married or he doesn't know those people, that's also gonna add up. And by you showing him receipts, that's gonna change the entire thing. That's gonna give you a better state of understanding as far as making your decision. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with you. But my next question would be, with this supposed second family being out of the country, how much contact does he actually have with them? Like, does he visit his home country, or is he just here pretending like they don't exist?
This is the thing. I'm not trying to spill the beans around here. It's just that sometimes the reason why a lot of people are skeptical with dating folks that are not from the country is that sometimes those people do come with hidden agendas. Sometimes they do have families waiting for them to find a green card and then to pick them up to get them back in the US. Things like that happens a lot. I'm not saying this is the actual situation. I'm not saying that somebody's not just hating on him. The fact that they realize that he's in the States now and they're probably over there not doing anything. There are a lot of reasons why people could act like that. But the reality is quite simple. For people in the Caribbean or other countries, for them to come to the States, there are a lot of people who would do things that you probably would never think about just to get that green card. So from that point alone, we don't know the real situation, because that's why I'm saying she must investigate. She must get to the bottom of it without him knowing that she knows. That's the only protection she has right now. She needs to get to the bottom of it as far as finding out the truth, the people's motives, if the guy actually been lying to her for the past years. You know what I mean?
And at the end of the day, the most important thing is there's potentially 3 children who are going to suffer from this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So no matter what decision she makes, if she finds out that it's true or potentially true, she has to think about her child and then also consider the other 2 children that he might have and how this is going to affect their lives in the future.
This is the thing, but we're also going to have to talk about the state of their relationship. If this is a relationship where they're always arguing, if this is a relationship where it's always ready to leave, you know what I mean? There are a lot of things that you could actually stick around to find, like, okay, maybe this guy this entire time already had his plan way before we even met each other or way before we even got married. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So you have to really dig deep into finding out, okay, what was your motives from the point we got together? You know what I mean? So my whole thing is, if, let's say that, hypothetically speaking, let's say the kids are actually his. I feel like there's a way that they could work around things. The kids are his. He doesn't have any relationship with the mom. It's going to be difficult. Maybe they didn't want to talk about it. I don't know why. They could try. But if there's another woman that's still active, and by other woman, I mean sending money to that lady when he goes to the country, spending time with that woman as his woman, while you still have a full-blown relationship here in the States, there are a lot of questions. You see what I'm saying?
There's a lot of questions, but at the same time, their relationship has been built on a whole lie.
Yeah.
With him not disclosing. If it's true, yeah. If it's true, with him not disclosing that he has 2 other children, how do you come back from that? You've known him for 7 years.
7 years.
There was a full year that the 2 of you were not in a relationship, that he could have potentially told you that he had this situation going on back in his home country.
Or did he get the lady pregnant
twice?
Hey, in the middle of the relationship. Hey, people are crazy. You never know.
Listen.
Hey, because that makes it even worse.
And it has to hurt to know that you've built this whole life with him. You are under the assumption that you're giving him a first everything. You're his first wife. You guys had your first child together. You're building this. You're making these strides to make your relationship better. And then just to have it all crash down. Honestly, I don't know if that's something that can easily be overcome. That's a lot. That will definitely take and need
a lot of counseling.
A lot of counseling, yeah.
A lot of therapy, yeah.
A lot of therapy. And then not only for the wife in the situation, she would need individual counseling.
Yes.
If they want to work it out, or even if they don't want to work it out, I would suggest,
even if it's not true, she still needs therapy.
Oh, most definitely.
Because this is not some news you want to wake up to. And
then if it is true, you have to consider, like, their child is going to need some type of therapy or counseling as well.
Yep.
Because you're going to... They may be a child now, but eventually they're going to grow up and they're going to hear this story and they're going to find out all this information about their hero. Mm-hmm. And that may change the perspective of how they see their father.
I know.
So if it is true, the child needs to start counseling around the same time that the mom does to prevent, like...
If it's true, it's going to be difficult to not get a divorce. If it's true... because it's gonna be a constant situation, a roller coaster. You don't know this, you don't know that. I wouldn't advise anybody to go through that process. If you find out that it's true, unfortunately, divorcing this man probably gonna be your best option. Mentally speaking, you have to secure that path. You know what I mean? You don't want to be out there struggling mentally, emotionally speaking, while you know that your man already have a full-blown family. Now you're feeling some type of way because that other family was there first. You know what I mean? So first thing first, I know emotionally speaking, you might be all over the place. If you're watching this video, I know emotionally speaking, you might be all over the place, but you have to think smart. First thing first, you have to investigate. Yes, that's your first bet right now. Do what you got to do to find out the truth. If it's true, now you have to confront him. By him lying or admitting, that could actually help the relationship or not. But at the same time, if it's true, there's pretty much nothing you could do about it, because the same time you want to stay in that relationship is the same thing that's gonna be traumatic for you the entire time. You know what I mean? That's a lot.
It most certainly is.
So to answer the question, first of all, it's unfortunate that you're going through all of this. The next best thing to do right now, like I said, is to investigate, you know what I mean? Then confront him. If it's true, unfortunately, my best advice would be to leave the relationship. But at the same time, it's totally up to you to make the decision. So my best bet for you is to investigate, confront him, and make the decision that will be best for you and your child, because that's the only person you could be thinking about right now. On that note, I hope that you guys enjoyed the video. If you have relationship questions, don't forget to go to our Instagram or Facebook. Send us descriptive questions so we can answer them to the best of our abilities. Until then, take care of yourselves and each other. Peace.